Good evening. I'm Jen Maxfield. Adam and Gilma are off. On this Memorial Day weekend, more portions of New York State are on the cusp of reopening. But first, there is more difficult news for families across the tri-state. Another 84 lives were lost from COVID-19 in New York, 96 in New Jersey. Those numbers are tough, but it is the first time that deaths in New York State are below 100 since March 24th. Hospitalizations and new cases, they keep dropping too. And now the northern suburbs and Long Island could reopen next week. Governor Cuomo now says they're looking to reopen Westchester, Rockland, and the Mid-Hudson region on Tuesday, Nassau and Suffolk counties Wednesday. According to the state's metrics, New York City still needs to increase its hospital and ICU bed capacity before reopening. We do have team coverage on the road to recovery in the tri-state. News 4's Miles Miller starts us off tonight in New Rochelle. Miles, this was one of the first hot spots in the country. Now it's on the verge of some reopening.
That's right. People here in New Rochelle happy to hear that things could be changing for the better. Key to reopening the lower Hudson Valley is hiring contact tracers. New Rochelle could be back open for business starting on Tuesday. The first city in our area with a sustained outbreak, which ushered in the National Guard in a containment area among several cities in the Mid-Hudson region, given the green light to enter phase 1 of the 4-phase reopening process.
The only open issue is we have to train tracers. No region opens before it's ready to open.
The Mid-Hudson region, which encompasses Westchester, Rockland, Putnam, Dutchess, Orange, Sullivan, and Ulster counties, saw a 3-day average of 5 COVID-19 deaths. Each region in the state needs to reach 7 benchmarks, like a drop in COVID-19 hospitalizations and deaths, in order to reopen. As of today, this region has cleared all 7. George Latimer is a county executive.
In this first phase, we're going to have curbside retail. That's probably what people will feel the most benefit from. Some of the other parts of phase 1, manufacturing and construction, are not an everyday Main Street type of thing.
Still, some residents here say it's much too soon.
We need more time.
Why do you say that?
Because I'm worried about the children.
Other residents eager to get back to normal wonder if all these measures were worth it.
We did too much. You know, we got too many hospital beds. You thought there was, worse is going to happen. Unfortunately, the best has happened. Not the best, but, it's better this way.
And the Westchester County executive tells me that contact tracers are being trained this weekend. More of that coming up on News 4 New York at 11. We're live in New Rochelle. I'm Miles Miller, News 4 New York.
Miles, thank you. Governor Cuomo says Long Island could begin reopening some parts of its economy as soon as Wednesday, as long as the number of COVID-19 deaths continues to drop. Both Nassau and Suffolk counties are on track for the first phase of reopening of certain businesses, including construction, manufacturing, and retail. But shopping won't be the same.
Can't go in, you can't walk around. You call ahead and you say what you would like, and obviously many times the transaction will be through credit card, just over the phone, and then you go and pick it up.
And we can get our economy going and begin phase 1 this week and do it right, do it safe.
Just a reminder, this Memorial Day weekend, some beaches in Nassau and Suffolk counties are only allowing residents to buy passes. Officials say they're limiting capacity to allow enough space for people to keep a safe distance. In New Jersey, officials confirmed 443 new cases of coronavirus. That brings the total to more than 153,000 cases. There were 96 additional deaths reported yesterday, bringing the number of lives lost to over 11,000. Now, about today's data, Governor Phil Murphy says a significant amount of electronic lab reports haven't been processed yet, and that means these numbers may actually be higher. Most beaches and boardwalks are back open in New Jersey. Social distancing and capacity restrictions are being enforced there. Towns are enforcing their own restrictions, too. Some are keeping bathrooms closed and others are not allowing anyone to swim. This drone video shows pretty decent crowds in Sea Isle City this morning, but a business owner in Point Pleasant tells us it's been a slow start.
Right now, if this was a normal Memorial Day weekend with rain in the morning and then it's kind of clearing up right now, I would have a store full of people right now. And there's nobody around. So, I mean, there's nobody even down at the shore.
Non-essential businesses around the state started curbside pickup service last week, and some shore hotels will reopen after Memorial Day. This unofficial start of summer began with a big washout at New York City's beaches. Take a look at this. This is the foggy start, the scene at the Coney Island Boardwalk today. Now, if you chose to head to the beach this weekend, swimming is not allowed, but surfing is okay, weather permitting, of course. There will be more police officers on the sand, along with social distancing ambassadors to make sure that people stay 6 feet apart. New Yorkers must wear masks if they cannot keep their distance. So how much longer will it rain on your Memorial Day weekend? Let's check in now with Storm Team 4's Matt Brickman with the answer. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Jen, thankfully we are just about done here on what was our wettest day so far this month. About 2/3 of an inch of rain fell in Central Park, and there were plenty of spots that got much more than that. Around 3/4 of an inch in Newark, but look just west of there. Clinton, 2.5 inches of rain. Much of that came in just a couple hours time. In fact, most of the rain in Central Park came between about 11 a.m. and noon today. Pretty spotty though otherwise, just 1/100 of an inch in Bridgeport and in Sussex, not far away from that 2.5 inch total. Now, we'll see a couple of sprinkles, I think, for the remainder of the evening. Still kind of a gloomy look over the Brooklyn Bridge, but things are starting to dry out. Just cloudy skies right now at 58 degrees. You can see Storm Tracker Force picking up a few spotty showers to give you a little bit of a wider picture. Yeah, there's just not a lot left. Starting to see some drier air move in with those easterly winds. Tomorrow will be dry but cool, but then we crank temperatures up heading later in the 10-day forecast. We'll have that for you coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Matt, thank you. President Trump kicked off the Memorial Day weekend playing golf at one of his private clubs in Virginia. The president's golf trip comes as the White House pushes states to lift stay-at-home orders and for the reopen of the economy. Still, many Americans remain cautious as the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases passes 1.6 million, with more than 97,000 deaths. The president is pushing for houses of worship to reopen after being closed for months. All the states in our area are now allowing some smaller groups to meet, but most churches and temples don't seem to be rushing to gather just yet. News 4's Adam Harding is in East Harlem with the response from religious leaders in the tri-state. Adam.
And it has been a mixed response. Certainly people want to open, but they are heeding with caution because of the health crisis that we're in the middle of. It is the last night of Ramadan here, and the Islamic Center behind us typically would be full of celebration to mark the occasion, but because of COVID-19, that will not be the case this year. As Ramadan comes to a close, changes in celebration amid COVID-19.
Muslims want to preserve life at all costs. What communities are doing is they will be praying at home with their families and then doing events virtually to come together as a community and celebrate.
Church is still alive.
Cardinal Timothy Dolan this morning in Staten Island, visiting 2 Catholic charities amid growing pressure from Washington to reopen houses of worship.
We want to be open as quickly as possible. Our people are urging it. But we also need to be attentive to the healthcare precautions that have been wisely outlined by our professionals and by our elected officials.
Today I'm identifying houses of worship, churches, synagogue, and mosques as essential places that provide essential services.
President Trump Friday saying he'll override any governors who refuse. But his message isn't being embraced by everyone in the faith community.
We have to follow the facts and the opinions of those who are experts on the field and not being used by politicians for their own political tendencies and interests.
In New Jersey, some churches are turning to the courts, threatening the governor with a lawsuit for what they call unconstitutionally shutting down houses of worship. The governor's office tonight not commenting on any legal matters, but maintaining the churches have always remained open, but with gatherings limited to no more than 10. Services have been held online at this synagogue since March as churches begin outlining how to practice social distancing, from outdoor confessionals to limited seating in pews.
We need to take our time because we have a high moral responsibility to protect the health of our people.
And we should tell you tonight that we're probably still a few weeks away from churches and other houses of worship really having a full house as for those celebrations to mark the end of Ramadan all around the country and the world. Families are being urged to celebrate at home. We're live tonight in East Harlem. I'm Adam Harding, News 4 New York.